Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand Fans Forum, or as we should call it, the Therapy Forum. Manchester United 0, Bournemouth 3. 2 seasons on the bounce. Bournemouth have come to Old Trafford and embarrassed Manchester United. This is under a new manager though. It is Ruben Amorim's first time playing Bournemouth at Old Trafford, but it was still giving reminiscence of the old performances where the team were just simply not good enough. It is embarrassing. 3 points for Christmas is what we wanted. We're coming away with 0. We've got a very unhappy Santa Claus here. Tull is back. I'm sorry you had to sit and watch that, Tull. It was just awful. And Ricky as well, joining us for these player ratings, and I'm sure it's going to be interesting to see how people rate these players based off that performance.
There's not going to be any high numbers in there at all, is there, today?
It's going to be one of the worst, the lowest ever, I would say.
I could just sit here and give them all a 0, to be honest with you, and then it'll all be show done.
Let's just do that and just end the show now, shall we?
We'll get into it. Make sure you vote on your player ratings as well. I mean, we'll get into it straight away, actually. I mean, should we start off? Should we just start off with the player ratings and start with Onana?
Let's do it.
So, Andre Onana, everyone. How are we rating Andre Onana today? I'll go for everyone and just give a number and we'll come to it.
It's a strange one, the keeper, isn't it? Because I don't think he could have done much with any of the goals, could he?
No, we had somebody with, like, the first goal was a great header and somebody's like, oh, Onana could have saved that. And I'm like, dude,
he didn't do anything special, but he didn't do anything wrong. I'd give him a 6 at least.
I've seen people on the watch along, like, genuinely, like, trying to blame Onana for the goals.
That's just
United.
Everybody looks for someone to blame and that, don't they?
That's what I mean. It's like we always try and blame individuals. It's not individuals, but for me, Onana couldn't have done really anything else. There was a couple of dodgy moments where he'd run out of his goal and he found himself running back, but I'd probably just give him like a 5 or a 6.
He could never have saved that header.
No,
never. One was a penalty.
Yeah.
And then third goal was smashed in low and hard from about 10 yards.
You can't say that the goalkeeping errors.
Someone in the chat said Mark said it was on Onana, please. Is that true? Did Goldberg say it was on Onana? Because if you did, please someone tell me.
It's not, is it?
He can't have said that, sure.
Not a chance. Kev, what are you giving him? Not Kev. Why do I keep calling people the wrong names?
It's because I'm the bad elf on the shelf. I've thrown you in.
I called you Morse before, now I'm calling you Kev. Tull, what are you giving him?
I can't pick halves, can I? So I'll round him up to a 6 because I agree with you lot. I don't think there's anything he could have done. Like I said, one's a penalty, the header was amazing. And yeah, the third goal, that's on the defence, that. So yeah,
I think a 6
I'll go with a 6, yeah.
We've set the bar high here, haven't we, with the...
Yeah, I think I was going to go a 5 just because of the performance, but he didn't do anything wrong, so we'll give him a 6. Okay. The community have given him, the ones who have voted, a 5.9.
So it's pretty close.
In and around.
We're pretty much dead on. Right, moving on to the man of the moment, Nusar Mazraoui. Mazraoui has been performing very highly, up there for sign of the season, definitely probably Man United's player of the season so far. Didn't have the best day at the office today, did he, Kev?
No. I can't really say Mazraoui today. But I said to it during the watch along as well, it's like you can afford a player like that to have an off day. Sounds weird, but you know, he was always going to be due one. It was just a shame that it happened today. But when you talk in terms of what United paid for him, the performances he's put in, he's been brilliant this season. It's just a shame that so many players dropped off today. You know, I said you can afford 1 or 2 passengers in a team because you can make substitutions that influence the game. When you've got 9 or 10 players that don't turn up, you've got a huge issue. Huge issue. You know, and Amorim will be under no illusion as to, you know, the work that needs to be done at Manchester United.
So what are you rating him?
After all that, 4.
5.
5.
4.
4.
I'm giving a 4 as well. Kev, you've been outvoted.
Yeah, thanks,
I'll go
Steve.
with 4. Let's see what the community say here. Waiting for it to pop up now. 5.8, the community.
Wow.
I'm sorry, were you watching that game? I think that's just because he's done well in recent
I was just going to say, that's probably what he's done.
We're basing it on this game, though, and he gave away a penalty that didn't need to be a penalty, and he didn't play well.
I think he was playing at a 5 anyway, and then the penalty knocks him down to a 4.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Harry Maguire, next up. I'll
4.
be quick on this one. I will give him a 4 as well. Yeah.
I'm with you guys, 4.
bad performance from Maguire compared to his usual self. Maguire, we were hyping him up on the build-up, saying he'd done really well as of late, but today he just didn't look at the races at all, did he?
No, he didn't.
Looks like we were saying, like he'd maybe not had enough sleep, been out the night before, was carrying a bit of an illness, or I don't know, he just did not look up to speed at all. He looked lethargic.
That Fury-Usyk fight's got a lot to answer for. I said that earlier. I think Harry Maguire definitely got the call last night and went to meet his mates and watch that fight.
Yeah, we're giving a
So many of them did, to be honest. I said it looked like the United Christmas do. I don't know whether they get one because they made that many cutbacks, but it does make you wonder. They just look like a team disjointed.
I'm so confused. The community have given a 6. 6 is
For
average.
Maguire.
We've conceded 3 goals at home to Bournemouth. Raise your standards, everybody.
Wow.
Raise your standards.
Wow.
I don't know if we need to refresh the player ratings, guys. That's what I'm being told in the chat.
Be a gremlin in the system.
Anyone
man.
can refresh them. Who's controlling it behind the scenes? Maybe, yeah.
So they give him what? 6?
Everyone's saying we need to refresh it because apparently, like, more votes come in. Do you know what I mean? I know. I think he's refreshed it. He's refreshed it in the past.
So what did Maguire get? 6?
Maguire got a 6. Yeah. So people in the chat saying we didn't give people enough time
last week, then,
to vote. We need to refresh it. I don't know if we can do that or not, but okay. Anana was a 6.
We had 2 4s. Mazraoui.
Anana was a 6. Mazraoui was a 4. And then
Maguire was a 4. That's our votes anyway.
Yeah, Maguire was a 4. Oh, really? Okay, well, guys, I listened to you. We refreshed, and it's still the same. All we'll say is...
That's how bad we were today, that we've actually had to check whether that was like a mistake and whether it was a technical error. Really? A 6?
Yeah, we need to...
Martinez, then?
We need to raise our standards, everyone. Lissandro Martinez, what are we going for? Tull?
I don't think he was quite as bad as Maguire, but I don't know if he was good enough for a 5. I want to say 4.5. I'll round him up to a 5 because I rounded Onana up. Yeah, I'll go 5.
I don't agree with Maguire's 6, but I wouldn't have put him as that, but I think I'd have to agree on a 5.
I'm going 5 for Martinez as well.
4 for me.
4 for you?
Yeah.
Why?
It's just poor, I thought.
Right, well, we've all gone 5, so we'll go 5. And Lissandro Martinez from the community is on a 5.8.
These are high ratings,
I know.
man.
Got beat 3-0 at home by Bournemouth. And Diogo Dalot next up. Ricky, go on.
I thought he was not too bad, Dalot. I'll give him a 5. I know that's poor, but I mean, I'll give him... He was better than the other defenders. 5.
I'd give Dalot 5.
Yeah, it's a 5.5, but I'm not rounding anyone else up now. He's not getting a 6. I'll give him a 5.
I think I'd agree.
Can you agree on a 5 for Diogo Dalot? So Diogo Dalot from the community, let's see what you guys say. It comes through a little bit. 5.5, so pretty much in agreement.
And he's kind of played in 2 different positions today, hasn't he, as well? You have to take that into consideration. It's quite impressive.
What did Martinez get? I forgot what you said about Martinez.
Martinez got on there...
5.8.
5.8, yeah.
Okay.
See, this is what I mean. I don't get how... So, anyway, it is what it is. Ugarte, this is a good one. What are we giving Ugarte? Got brought off quite early doors today.
6 for me. 6. I thought Ugarte was all right.
He's the standout player. I know there's not much to write home about there today, but if there was one player that could probably walk off that pitch with his head held high, I'd say Ugarte is definitely that player.
The only player who turned up, really.
Yeah.
The rest of them just didn't.
And then you could argue, you know, was it the right time to bring him off? You know, in that situation, yes, he's on a yellow card, but you'd like to think that that player of that experience. He's quite disciplined as well. You'd like to think that he could see out the game. We don't know. Was it because of the yellow card that he brought him off?
I
don't think it was an injury, was it? Or
we'll see if he says anything in his post-match interview, but I assume it is because of the yellow card.
A tactical kind of thing.
I do think once he got that yellow, he's a little bit more subdued. Like he couldn't maybe go full throttle into things the way that he usually does. But I thought Ugarte started the game really well. really well. Like I even said on the watch along, he could, you know, break his record for most amount of duels when he was holding that midfield together. In my opinion, I'd give Ugarte a 7. I think if everyone needed to get onto that level, I thought he did really well for when he was on the pitch, but he just got brought off.
Well, if the community are saying that Harry Maguire's a 6, then he was better than.
Certainly better than Harry Maguire.
Yeah, if you work it off them ratings.
So what are we going for? I'm going for 7.
I've said a 6, but obviously I'm comparing him to my other ratings. All the others are 4s.
Yeah, we'll compare it to our own. Yeah.
I'd 6 again. I keep using halves. I had 6.5 in my head, but I'll give him a 6. I don't want to give anyone a 7 today.
I think I'd agree on a 7.
Okay. Well, I'm the boss, so I'm going 7.
Nobody can give him a 7. I'll give him a 7.
We'll go for 7. The community went with 6.9.
Right.
So I think that works out a little bit. Kobbie Mainoo. He was getting a bit of stick today in the chat in terms of his performance. Ricky?
4 or 5. Probably 4. Probably 4.
I love Mainoo, but it's a 4 for me. 4.
I agree.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
let's
disappointed.
Let's go on a 4 with Mainoo today. Again, he's got a 6 from the chat. I honestly think, especially the way that people react in the chat, because most people in the chat are writing 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. I don't think the player ratings are coming through right, so we'll just go off what we're saying. But I mean, maybe it is right, and we've just got it wrong.
Still got to read them out, haven't you?
No, of course we're going to read them out. Yeah. But I'm just saying, and they might be right, but I don't know if they are completely accurate, because most people in the chat are like saying 4. So, but people online have given a 6. But I think 4 is a little bit fairer. And that's what you say, you know, when you talk about your Ahmads and your Mainoos and your Mazraouis, the players that usually turn up for you, if they're not there, it does a.
Just so many players were off it today, weren't they? That's the annoying thing. I don't know.
Next one is Tyrell Malacia.
4.
Yeah. It was far to say a 3.
I'm thinking 3.
I am.
Do you know what? Yeah, I'll go 3. I'd say he probably was, in that first half, the worst of a very, very bad bunch.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's hard for him, isn't it? Because he's come back from a lengthy injury. Amorim obviously is using him as an experiment. He can see there's a player in there, but that's a couple of times this season he's kind of played and been hooked at kind of half time, hasn't he?
3 games in a row.
Is it 3 in a row?
He's come off at half time.
It's clear that he's nowhere near up to sort of match fitness. It's just using him right in the right games. But at United at the minute, you know, is Bournemouth at Old Trafford really a great sort of trial to go out and trial something like that? You know, that backfired spectacularly today.
Yeah. So we agreeing on 3 then?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with 3 for Tyrell Malacia. Okay, yeah, the community have given him a 5. Greg thinks there's something wrong with the ratings as well, but we've given him a 3. Let's move on to Ahmad.
Ahmad was still, for me, the one who looked like he might do something, but he wasn't anything like his normal self, was he? Again, I'm between 4 and 5, but I'll probably just about give him a 5, I think, Ahmad.
I think I'd give him a 5 based off the fact we give, you know, Mainoo a 4. He was better than Mainoo. I'd give him a 5.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I'll go with a 5.
He had a couple of chances today as well, didn't he? Where he's been riding the crest of a wave. You know, that was last weekend. It ends up in the back of the net. It's fine lines, but he's another player, Ahmad, who's been a breath of fresh air in the team. But again, it's just annoying that so many other players didn't turn up today. Yeah, it really is just a bad day at the office.
Should have done better on a few of his shots that he had, to be fair. But like you said, you know, you can only work with what's around you. So we'll go with Ahmad a 5, and then we'll move on to Bruno Fernandes.
Go on, Ricky.
2. He was the worst player on the field by a country mile.
Bruno, get your chats in below.
A 2.
Do you not think he was the worst player on the field? He was horrendous. He was absolutely horrendous.
I couldn't
shooting all over the show, passing in.
I get that.
Giving it away left.
I don't know. I can't say he was.
Bruno's a 4 for me. Bruno's
2.
a 4.
I'm going with a 2.
You're going with a 2. What are you going with, Tom?
I had 3.5 in my head. I'm gonna You can round it up or down, whichever you fancy.
I think a 4, but that same energy has to. If you say about Ahmad that at least he looked like he could make things happen, that does apply to Bruno as well, surely. Where you'd look and say, I know, Ricky biting his lip here. He's like, no.
If me and Kev
cannot praise Bruno.
If me and Kev are going 4 and you're 3 and you're 2, we'll just go with 3.
Okay.
We're in
Okay,
and
so we'll
around
go
that.
for 3 for Bruno Fernandes. He's got a 5.7 off the community. Joshua Zirkzee.
3.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 3 as well.
I was disappointed with him today. Again, this is going to
Just
be like one of
awful, wasn't it?
the hardest player ratings ever to do because so many players did not turn up. When your best player, if we're agreeing on Ugarte, is getting a 6 against Bournemouth at Old Trafford, you've got serious issues, haven't you? Because we know that all these player ratings are just going to be absolutely... You're talking 3s and 4s. The Premier League players in a Premier League game at Old Trafford. Spoiling Kev's Christmas. Not having it, man.
3.
Zirkzee has to be a 3. Cannot go higher than that. So we'll do a 3 for Joshua Zirkzee. 3 for Joshua Zirkzee.
He
It
was
rhymes.
disappointing.
And substitute appearances. Lenny Yoro came on at half-time, so we can give him a decent rating based off what we've seen. What would we give Lenny Yoro?
I thought he looked shaky
Give
when he
all the
come
other
on.
defenders a 4. I'd probably stick him the same as the other defenders, really. There wasn't any improvement, I don't think.
He switched
4.
off for the 3rd goal, big time.
I'm going to be honest, even though I love the look of Lenny, I'd give him a 4 as well.
I think I'd go over 4.
Some of his passing was a bit lapsed too.
He really was asleep for that 3rd goal.
It's getting the blend right in that back 3, isn't it? When you've got a settled back 3, and we said earlier as well, De Ligt, you know, you don't know what you've got till it's gone. When a player like that, who's been so colossal for United this season, is out of that back line, it just looks totally disjointed. Fair play to Bournemouth today as well. I think they exploited that and thought, right, let's have a right good go at him.
He came on in the derby, Yoro, didn't he? Didn't he get about 20, 25 minutes? I think he did, maybe longer.
I think he did.
Half an hour even. Unbelievable.
Great talent, again, but I think De Ligt missing today. I'm not just pinpointing it on that. That's why we got beat 3-0. We were absolutely bloody awful, but I think it does show you what De Ligt means to Manchester United because he's been brilliant this season.
So we'll give Yoro a 4 then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alejandro Garnacho.
3.
3. Just for that shot alone, to be honest with you.
The pass back to the keeper.
I'll go with...
Great defensive work.
Yeah, I'll go with a 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go 3.
3.
I thought he was just infuriating when he come on, to be honest. It just doesn't seem to be sinking in with him. You know, somebody who just makes the wrong decision, and so he gets into great areas and then you're like, what is going on in your head, mate? You know, there was that one where you said where Højlund took the shot on where he should have probably played Garnacho in, but because Garnacho had missed a couple of chances,
Yeah,
Højlund probably thought,
myself.
I'm not slipping him in. Yeah,
Shouldn't work like that though.
Shouldn't.
No, it
you
shouldn't.
work
I
like
think
that.
there was a lot of that going on in
Should
the Forest game as well.
We've said that. We've seen that before where it's like, oh, well, you've had a shot, so I'm just going to have a shot
You've got to try
now.
and do the right
You've
thing
got to do
every
the right
time.
thing for the team every
no
time.
iron team.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to Højlund, we'll give Garnacho a 3 then. Rasmus Højlund, probably give him a 4.
Yeah, I think a 4, yeah.
I think he looked a little bit more
A little
lively
bit
than
livelier than
Zirkzee.
Zirkzee, yeah.
So I think he'd have to get a 4.
Yeah,
on that
I'd
one.
say, he wasn't quite as bad, was he?
Yeah. You agree?
Yeah.
Amazing player ratings, guys. I think the highest anyone got was a 6, and that was Onana. So, yeah, it's very, very,
Tells you
very
everything, doesn't
bad
it?
day at the office for Manchester United and for the players in that team. Man of the match, if we can find one.
It's got to be Ugarte, I think, hasn't it?
Ugarte.
Ugarte?
I think Ugarte got a 6 as well as Onana.
Yeah.
You can't really give Onana.
I give
man of the
Ugarte
match
7
just 'cause-
actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ugarte, I think.
We'll give Ugarte man of the match, and then Ruben Amorim. What do we rate the manager?
Today, 5.
I'm thinking maybe even 4. I thought the Ugarte substitution, I know maybe it's the yellow card, but it seemed poorly timed.
Yeah, you
to
don't
me.
always take somebody off who's on it.
In terms of the actual team that went out today, when the team news hit, we used like happy. Did you look at it and think this is a team that's set up to? I was as well. That's why I'm asking the question. I didn't say. I know we can look back now and go, oh, you know, the changes that he's made from midweek or from the Manchester derby, or he's forced into the Delit one because he was obviously sick. But you had no issue with Maguire stepping in, did you? You'd look at that and think, say, like for like replacement.
I looked at the 11 and you look at your key players.
Maybe
right
Xerxes was the one where you thought you might have gone with Rasmus, but apart from that, from what he had available to him, I kind of looked and thought, yeah.
Key players were still there. You had Ahmad starting, you had Mainu starting, you had Mazraoui starting. So you think, our usual top performers are on the pitch, should be enough to get us over the line. I know I predicted a draw, but I would have took a point.
You got with a draw, yeah?
I did, yeah. I took a point by now. I thought we'd get at least something. I didn't think we'd get, absolutely railroaded like we did. But
I think we can agree on Amorim for today. I thought that Ugarte sub wasn't the right one.
The midfield was completely wide open the minute he went off.
I actually think the game needed Eriksen to come on, to be honest, and he obviously didn't use him. That's just my personal opinion. So we agree on a 4 on Amorim?
I'm slowly falling out with the manager already.
Oh, come on, Ricky.
No, on the basis of it's not. There's just certain things that are going on that have gone on under the other managers, like the overrating Bruno and never, well, he did sub him a couple of times, didn't he, early doors, but, he's nailed on in the starting lineup, then no matter how badly he plays, he doesn't get substituted, and he's underrated. I know it's a player that could play in the same position, but even if he was going in a different position, he's underrating Eriksen. Eriksen was playing really well before he came in, and he's played in 2 games out of how many games has he had now, 8 or 9. He's got, and he must see him in training, he's got to start. And I'm not saying, I probably would play him every week, mate, but I'm not even suggesting that. Surely, and he's rotating, don't forget, he's rotating, and yet Eriksen hardly ever gets rotated in. Bruno never gets rotated out, and it's just too lopsided. They don't need to rely on Bruno. If Bruno wouldn't have played today, Bruno fans would be saying, "Oh, look at us without Bruno." They would do, wouldn't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
we get battered often with Bruno playing. I know this is me having a Bruno rant, and people will say he's on Bruno again. But surely to God, you must see that it's worth occasionally just trying it without him. Surely.
He has mixed it up, though, hasn't he?
He's taken Rashford out the squad, Ricky.
Yeah, he has done that. That's good.
He's not playing Garnacho as much as he was.
That's good.
As we were.
That's good.
Ricky, you said to me, if he's still playing Bruno in January, you'll concede a little bit. Yeah. You said you'd concede a little bit. I said
I will concede, and I said I'm not coming anymore.
I'm not coming. You are. Well, it's January next week, and do you think he's going to get dropped? I don't. So.
No, I don't either. No. I don't.
Every manager's played him.
I know.
So.
There has to be something in it, don't there?
It's not just a coincidence, do you know what I mean?
But on today's game,
today he was
I can't defend it, you know what I mean? I can't sit here to Ricky and say that Bruno was... I thought they were all rubbish.
And then in terms of man of the match from the community, you also gave it Manuel Ugarte with 47% of the vote. So thank you everyone for voting, getting your ratings in. I think maybe some rival fans crashed the party on a few of them. I do think it was working properly. It's just some rival fans sometimes doing a bit of a troll. Yeah. But we got there in the end and the chat guided us through it. So thank you, everyone. And in terms of a magic moment, don't think there was one.
No, we can't have one of them today.
Genuinely cannot find a magic moment.
This could be a first, where we don't have
there
magic moment.
There literally wasn't a single one. Not even in near like anything. So, yeah, it's one of them, innit? I mean, looking at some super chats coming in already, Anthony Tracy says, Underdog FC, play well then when no expectations are on us. Dimar says, all of these senior players are in contention to go, in my opinion. If Amorim is a coach, we think he is. There is no way Bruno is the main man. More Ugartes. Imp says, rival fans are voting high on the ratings. Rudy's Reese says, guys, we need to put players on the front post and back post to stop these set pieces goals because Anana isn't diving for those headers. He's never getting for that looping header. Yeah. Alex Z says, Amorim doesn't get a pass. He agrees to join immediately. Can't expect praise for wins and good performances, then be exempt from criticism of losses. Alex Hale says, no Rashford to blame, but Garnacho is better, apparently. Kawika says, Ugarte coming off was a big mistake. No one could make simple passes in our midfield, so why not try Eriksen? Exactly what we were saying before. And Alex Z says, I'm with Ricky. Ericsson had a few goals and assists before Amorim came. Our number 10 doesn't need to be all over the field. Ericsson would calm the game. We'll get into more of the discussion on that. But in terms of Manchester United today and the expectations of some of these players, I think we all got brought down to earth a little bit. And I do think it's games like this where Amorim, Wilcox, Barada, when the transfer window opens and contract renewals come up, we really do actually need to remember the ceiling and the capabilities of this current squad.
Yeah,
it's a reality check today, isn't it?
Yeah,
there's just 2 words you fire in. It's just reality check.
I was very wary before the game not to jump the gun. From, the City game last week was brilliant, but
I did. I was absolutely shameless today. I was like, we'll turn these over. We are winning this game.
Yeah, I said
Christmas is not being ruined, and it has been.
I said on the build-up, I want to see a run of 4. I want to see him string 4 or 5 above average performances together in the league before I'm going to start predicting wins on this show, because they just let you down, man. The players are cheats. They let you down every week. So yeah, I still don't trust them. The City game, they were absolutely brilliant. I couldn't fault any one of them, but why can't they rock up and do it at Old Trafford against Forest or Bournemouth? Why can't they do that? Why can't they seem to muster up that spirit? It's literally only Ugarte who's turned up today. The rest of them may as well have stayed at home. And I just don't understand why they can't, as individuals, pick themselves up to perform at Old Trafford.
Have a bit of pride.
It's that like mentality that Conte used to talk about, and he's kind of still running in Spurs, where you'd have a good game and then it's like, oh, we had a good game, lads. Do you know what I mean? You need to do that every single week. Every single week. You can't just turn up once every month. And
I'll tell you something as well, which I thought about before. Why is it that all those key principles that we really focused on against City, which they got us over the line, those key principles which we stuck to, keeping the game simple, keeping the tempo high, why does it go out the window the week after? It's like we have to. It's crazy. It's like we have to have an occasion, like a derby away from home or something like that, for us to remind ourselves of those key principles where, keeping the ball, being neat and tidy, don't give the ball away wastefully, up the tempo, keep on the other team, and then the week after it's like, oh, we've done it now. It's like they forget about it. Those principles have got to be every single game. It's got to be embedded into every single one of them players, and it should be, if you're not doing it, you won't play the next week. I'm expecting now that next league game, I want to see 3-4 changes. Honestly,
it's a mentality thing, isn't it? Even under Erik ten Hag, you mentioned there about raising to the occasion. We had all last season, from game to game, stumbling in, not knowing what the hell was going to happen. Then all of a sudden, they all decided to turn up in May in the FA Cup final against City, and we thought, well, absolutely bloody fantastic that they all decided to turn up that day. But it comes down to kind of personal pride and that. You think, well, how can you turn up at Wembley that day and win the FA Cup final like 2-1? But then, there's this mega drop-off. You have to have the same energy when you're playing City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Bournemouth, whoever it is. It should be across the line. But they do seem to be able to raise the game. We played well against Arsenal for long periods, didn't we? Yes, we got beat. We played well against Manchester City. It's like, I don't understand how there can be this drop-off. Is it a mentality issue with these players? I honestly don't know. The same issues are there from Erik ten Hag, aren't they? And this manager was hounded out of the club. Get rid of him and that. Ruben Amorim has now inherited them same issues. It's just how he deals with them now.
That's why you need a full squad clear out. Like I said, you can.
We're at the same point we were last season. We will sit here until the cows come home and talk about we need to get rid of how many players did Ten Hag get rid of?
We weren't playing we weren't playing well even when we conceded the goal. Ruben Amorim speaks about it. It's unlucky, it's a foul, and then you concede on a set piece and you're down. But we weren't playing well then. But when that second goal that goes in, and the penalty goes in, you then see players, it's just complete hit and hope, and the whole game plan just gets ditched. And we weren't doing very well in it anyway. But it's that the players fold so easily in this setup, fold so easily. And even when you are following the structure and the game plan that's in place, there's not enough individual quality to score
it
goals
run
in
through
that
the team, didn't it? It was almost infectious then, in a bad way. Like you say, once the game plan's gone out the window and you're 2-0 down, all of a sudden everyone just starts hitting and hoping. You know, wild passes and balls, and you're like, but you could argue that Bruno Fernandes is the captain. He should be the person out on that pitch that, you know, says, settle down here. You know, that's where a good captain really should step up and try and take control. But it's
he's supposed to lead by example.
Yeah. And, well,
he's the biggest culprit for it as well. I will say he gets frustrated and then he starts being, what would you call it, erratic. And I've seen a couple of people saying Ruben Amorim needs to address, you know, the Bruno conundrum in terms of, obviously he can provide a lot for you, but also he can take a lot away in terms of losing possession a lot, being a little bit of a liability in possession sometimes, making passes that he shouldn't really make when you're in the final third, or trying to shoot when he shouldn't be shooting, and you lose the ball, and it gives the other team the opportunity to attack you and get onto you. I mean, Ricky, you've made your feelings very, very known on Bruno Fernandes, but do you think that's the next step for Ruben Amorim to kind of maybe address that?
Well, I've thought it's needed addressing for a while, and we've spoke about this on a few occasions where, a leopard can't change its spots. He can try, and he does do it for a short while. But today's worse than ever. He was literally smashing passes all over the show and crossing from just deep positions and just very, very, very poor. Nothing.
he wasn't the only one though, was he?
He's the only one who's doing that. He's the only one who's doing that, knocking loads of long balls and crossing it from deep positions. Do you know what I mean? And it's just a waste of time. It's just hopeful balls into the box. And
I genuinely believe when you are playing well and you're, you know, doing well in a game, and Bruno Fernandes can be a top quality football player, but when you are behind and it's a frustrating game, he makes it more frustrating because he becomes erratic and ill-disciplined, and it makes the performance even worse.
Kind of breeds into the other players.
You can see he is a quality player when he's on it and he's doing the right things, he's making the right decisions, and he's calmer. But when he becomes impatient, when you are behind in a game, he can make it a lot worse. And I do agree with that. Like, today he was terrible, and because of that. But there isn't an excuse. As a senior football player, you have to be able to control your own game and not
control your emotions. Yeah. That's what the top players do.
Yeah.
You know, the top player. I mean, we've done it ourselves on some occasions, of course. But you know, when we had top players, like your Michael Carricks and your Paul Scholes, you know, they didn't get panicky if we were a goal down. Do you know what I mean? They just kept playing the game the right way.
I mean, what is interesting is halfway through Ruben Amorim's press conference at Old Trafford, the press conference ceiling's leaking. Yeah. I mean, Old Trafford's leaking in the ground, but the actual ceiling of the press conference room's leaking.
Team leaks.
Just show team leaks.
Leaks everywhere.
Roof leaks.
Yeah.
Offence leaks.
Yeah, it just feels when you see stuff like that, and again, like, not to put to keep putting a nail in the coffin and hammer it home, but how good you are as a football club, it's all departments. Manchester United having a leaking roof, a leaking press conference roof. Is that the behaviour? Is that the standard of a top club that's winning everything? No. And I'm not saying that's why you lost at Bournemouth, but in every single department of a football club, you should be trying to be the best and being the best. You are Manchester United, the biggest club in England, one of the biggest clubs in the world. Your roof is leaking, your press conference roof is leaking. You know, you don't have the best training facilities, you don't have the best physios, you have to be the best in all departments. The squad isn't the best. You know,
I was going to say, we don't even have the best players.
Everything has to be the best all over, and because it filters down and it sets the standards. Subconsciously, it does set the standards across the whole football club.
Did Amorim really say we were unlucky with a set piece?
I don't know if he used the word unlucky. Let me get the exact quote.
I'd be disappointed if he did.
This is his quote. He said, "It's really hard, especially if you saw the game. We conceded one foul and then a goal. We were winning second balls and creating chances. We conceded a penalty and then the third goal. It was really hard for the fans. We have to go again next game."
Yeah, that set piece thing now is it's beyond luck or anything of that sort.
So he didn't say unlucky.
Yeah, but he's kind of making a notion that, you know, it's just one set piece. We give away one set piece, and coincidentally we've conceded, but it's not coincidentally because we concede set piece every single game. So it's not coincidence. It's not unlucky or coincidence. It's a gaping issue which needs addressing now. It needs sorting out now. It does. It needs sorting out now. It does. You know, when you've. It's not like we've not got tall players in the squad who can attack a football. There's plenty of tall lads in that team who can attack a football. It's an organisation thing. Whoever that set piece coach is, mate, time's ticking.
I said with the cutbacks United are making, you've got like Sir Jim pulling the knife down. You've got, I don't know, Sue in accounts has been laid off who earned 11 grand a year. You've got Ken the cleaner, he's gone. You know, all these smaller kind of jobs. And the main one at the minute I'd be looking at is the set piece coach. I'd be saying, what, you know, how is this person earning money from how many set pieces are we conceding from, you know, this season? Arsenal's still fresh in the memory. It's absolutely mind-boggling that you do zonal marking from, and it's happened again today.
But could you also make the argument that it's like telling an artist to, you know, try and paint with the
crayons,
branches instead of a paintbrush? Like, the players need to take accountability.
Yeah, I do understand
You're
that.
professional football players, and some of the set pieces we concede off, like, the organisation's it's not there. The IQ of the team is low. The IQ of the team is low. Of course, the set piece coach needs to come under consideration. There's always someone to blame. Professional football players on a pitch, like, you know, step up. Maybe I'm being harsh there.
Even corners today, it was refreshing to see Ahmad clear the first man a couple of times. You know, we're so used to Bruno. How many times have we said today, watching that game, Bruno, corner, will he clear the first man?
No.
Bang, no. And it's just so frustrating to see, and it was quite refreshing in the second half. Ahmad took a few out on the other side of the pitch, and they were almost, I'll call them decent, Arsenal-esque. He put it in the correct area. You know, he's done his bit, but then it comes down to, again, set piece, you know, like, yeah, what's the plan?
We don't score them, and we concede a hell of a lot of them.
Yeah,
and
so it...
Usually you're gonna look one place, aren't you? No, I get what Beth's saying though. You know, if you football players on a pitch, 11 lads on a pitch, shouldn't have had to have spoke to the set piece coach in the last 7 days. One of you stands up and says, "Right, I'm attacking this ball, lads," and the rest follow. You know, something. You go back to basic grassroots football. It's just how it works.
We had Maguire. I'm not blaming Maguire, but you had Maguire in the box as well. Still couldn't keep it out, and you know he's our guy for defending set pieces.
It's every week though. It's someone different every week. And at Forest, it was Martinez who lost the header. City, it was Oyland who lost the header, and Arsenal, there was a couple.
It was the Forest one, wasn't it?
No, I don't think Maguire was to blame today for the set piece, but I'm just saying you can even have the big guy in the box and you're still lacking. Yeah.
So. Was it Milenkovic who scored for Forest?
Yeah, Martinez was on him.
How did Martinez get left? That's why I'm saying from set pieces, you've got one of their tallest players and one of our smallest. I just can't fathom it. I'm like, how is he been left with him? You've got the lit on the pitch, you know, you match up size for size and, you know, nullify that kind of height threat. It's just mind-boggling, man.
In terms of taking corners as well, surely you've got to have someone on that pitch that can take a better corner every single week.
Set pieces in general, free kicks,
Bruno
corners.
Fernandes, he barely beating the first man. What I have said multiple times as well is that when we do invest into another like 10 an attacking midfielder, because I think we actually will do that. I think we need to, especially with Mount's injuries and everything like that. We need to get someone in who's good at set pieces. It's an area we're lacking in so badly.
On about the set pieces,
other teams have players that are way better at set pieces.
Bring up what I brought up during the and again I'm Bruno bashing, but it's a fact. What I'm saying is a fact. You know, he takes nearly every direct free kick. and he's been playing for us for 5 years. We must average at least one a game. I bet he's took 150 direct free kicks, maybe 200.
I don't understand that
In
either.
the Premier League, he
agree.
scored one, and that was 5 years ago. Now, if that was another player at another club, surely they'd be saying, why is he taking the free kicks? It's crap.
Yeah.
And I brought this up when we got a free kick today, a direct free kick, and I think the idea is to get it over the wall, and it was about 4 feet off the ground. It didn't even have to head it.
Hit the bloke in the shins, didn't it?
Hit him in the belly or something. I don't know, but it's about this high. It's just
I said to you, wasn't it?
Absolutely horrendous. And I know he hits the occasional decent one. I think we was watching a game the other week, and I think he hit the bar. Decent effort, but. You know, you've got to have more decent efforts and you've got to score more.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's such a big part of the game as well, isn't it? But it's so frustrating because...
I can't stress how important it is if you get some of them free kicks in. I mean, I can't remember what the score was in the game today. I think we were 1-0 down.
Yeah,
if he scores that free... I know, I'm not saying he's got to score that specific free kick, but you've got to score some. If that would have been one of the ones he scored today, I think it was 1-0 at the time, we might have gone on to win that match. Yeah. You've got to get somebody on it who can score a free kick.
Did they say the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over and expecting a different thing?
5 years.
Exactly.
Since he scored one in the league.
Bruno on them free kicks at the minute, I just don't understand it. Because I don't know, Ahmad would stood over that and we were like, has Ahmad stood up here and is he actually going to say, well, listen, you know, you're not prolific.
It's not easy scoring free kicks in the Premier League. It's not easy. I want to stress this. It's not easy. I think.
But at least give yourself a chance.
Beckham holds the record with about 17. I think James Ward-Prowse is on about 16.
That's right.
But people like even 8 or 10's decent. Now Christian Eriksen scored 8. Juan Mata scored 8. You know what I mean? Players who have got that bit of technique just to dink it over the wall, swerve it into the corner. Do you know what I mean? Bruno can't do that. The one that he did score was one that he blasted. You know, I like players like Mata, like Eriksen, like James Ward-Prowse to use the inside of the foot and to get a bit of whip on it and bend it away from the keeper into the corner. He's not got anything like that ability, nowhere near.
It's just hit and hope.
And that's why them players are probably only averaging one a year, but Bruno's averaging one every 5 years at the minute.
It's because obviously Eriksen's not playing.
Well, obviously he's not playing, but when he plays, Bruno takes the direct free kicks. I'm sure he does.
Well, even, you know, but say if he's not playing, maybe in our team we just don't have anyone with that much quality. Is it as simple as that?
There must be so
I think Dalot strikes the ball, as I've just explained. The way you kick the ball, the way you address it, and the actual way you try and clip it over with a bit of weight and get a bit of bend on it. I see Dalot playing passes like that and playing crosses like that. Bruno's more hit it, more direct, like top of the foot and stuff. I think Dalot look. Let's put it this way. I think if Dalot had been taking him for 5 years, I bet he'd have scored more than one anyway.
You've got no control over a football when you're just lashing your laces through it. Yeah. You know, and let them, I don't care what you say. Like you said there, somebody like Beckham, I don't know, Mata, whoever it is.
Curling him in.
Yeah. And they know exactly where it's going to go. That's all about technique. You know, even Rashford to an extent running up and just putting your laces through the ball, that one where you hit the valve and it's kind of hitting and hoping, but there's no real technique to that.
Kaika says Ugarte coming off was a big mistake. No one could make simple passes in our midfield, so why not try Eriksen? I've done that one. We've got Dan Edie saying try Mainu in the 10 in front of Ugarte and Højlund. Sorry, in front of Ugarte and Højlund ahead. D. Booge says, Ricky, could we improve on Bruno? Yes, but how many pros play every minute with this intensity in every game? Rather a Mount or Kevin De Bruyne, they're not available.
Play with that intensity?
As in, he's available every minute of every Premier League game, whereas other footballers aren't. Do you know what I mean?
Shouldn't really be a trait of football, should it? That you're available.
I think it's a big trait. I think it's a huge trait in this day and age that you are available to play week in,
If you
week
put-
out. You
if
know
you
how
have-
I'm available. To
you know
play,
how
Steve.
yeah, but look,
Eriksen's fit most of
think
it.
about
Eriksen
how
had
many
a serious injury, didn't he, when what's his name did him, that striker did him, didn't he, in that cup tie?
Oh, Andy Carroll.
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah.
Eriksen was out for months, but that was a serious injury. You can't knock somebody for getting an injury
No, yeah.
like that. It's it's the little pulls
If
and the
it's a
little
Mason
knocks and
Mount
all
kind
that.
of
I'm just saying, how
situation.
frustrating is it when players are injured all the time? That's what
Yeah, one after another.
Being not
Yeah,
injury
what
prone
I'm
is
saying
an
is
attribute.
Eriksen's not injury prone. He's had one serious injury, and I don't think he misses many other games injured. He's still on the bench all the time, isn't he?
And that was an injury that was
When I was
inflicted on
speaking
him.
before about the rotation and all that, by the way, he's not bringing him on as a sub even. That's when I'm saying he's underrating him. Surely to God, in a game like that, you need somebody like Eriksen who can come and try and pull a few strings, knock the simple balls, try and get it out to the wingers along the deck.
Get
and stuff
control
like
of the
that.
midfield,
Remember
wasn't
the
it,
ball
today?
they gave Bruno against Spurs the other night when he put Bruno in down the left? We haven't got a player, including Bruno, who could play that pass. We've got to get somebody on the park who can play with balls with the inside of your foot, proper weight on them, proper accuracy, and start pulling a few strings. And Eriksen needs to play more. Even the way he's getting treated again, this is what I'm talking about. Even if you don't want to play him every week, you certainly got to use him.
I agree with you that I do think Amorim should be using him more. I think when he's on the pitch, he's very good on the ball, and it can help you play. We've seen that, and he did have a good start to the season when everyone else was playing poorly. I'm not saying he's the future, and I don't think he's someone who should start every single game, but against Spurs, apart from his shots, which were terrible, I thought he did really well. So to not even be rewarded with a minute again today seemed a bit weird to me, but kind of trying to trust the manager right now. Biggest ball knowledge says, going to Old Trafford for the first time to watch United versus Newcastle. Can't say I'm the most enthusiastic. Hosni says, genuine question, what stops this team from being relegated? I mean, we won't be relegated, but it's just, it's tough. It's a tough watch. Alex Sad says, Bruno is a great player, but not captain material, in my opinion. Anthony Tracy says, can we see a plus/minus of Bruno chances/given up? I mean, that'd be really interesting, but I don't think anyone's made that stat. Ravel says, I'm curious as to why everyone didn't get a 6 out of 10. It was an average performance. Aside from 2 to 3 players, this is every week, which makes it average for them. I mean,
Below average. Come on, man. It wasn't average.
That was an average performance.
Below average.
Even by our standards, that was a poor performance.
Well below average.
D. Booge says, are we having a Bruno pile-on? Stop it, guys. Keel Robinson says, if they have been there 5 years, then they need to go. LMP says, really weird because Bruno used to be amazing at set pieces and corners. He was a specialist. It's like we ruined players' ability. Banda says, we have no threats on the left, Ahmad, and nobody on the right. One set of starting midfielders. Bruno is a problem, 5 or 6. Basically, I think he's trying to say you have Ahmad on the right and then you don't have anyone on the left to give that threat. Loud Christian says, I think we need relegation. Honestly, no player can cope with this pressure. New cultural reset, bad players gone, kind of hoping for it. Can't take this. I mean, we're not going to get relegated, guys. There's going 0 to 100, but it is a really poor performance. In terms of the stats from the game, in terms of Manchester United against Bournemouth and where we're at ranking stats-wise, we had 55% possession to Bournemouth's 45%. We had 1.51 expected goals, they had 1.1. So we actually had more expected goals with them just. Total shots, we had 16, they had 8. We both had 5 shots on target. Both had 2 big chances created. We had 2 big chances missed. They didn't miss any big chances. And our passes were 80% accurate. Theirs was 76 accurate. So, oh wait, I got sent the stats, but apparently that was from during the game and not quite at the end. So I'm reading the wrong stats out. Ignore that. That was from during the game. But what we can say is, I'll make my point a little bit more blunt. We did have opportunities in the final third, but we've not got the quality in the final third to follow it through and score goals. How many times have we seen us in the final third and it's just the final decision is super frustrating. The final shot is a weak shot. How many times?
Loads of times.
There's plenty of times today.
I think you could say we have got the quality, but it's the lack of that making the great players make them decisions in the final third, and we have lacked that so much, whether it's Rashford, Garnacho, Anthony, whoever them forward players are, in them moments, they just do not do it. You know, Garnacho's a classic example today of coming on the pitch. You know, he had a couple of chances there. One where he's practically one-on-one with the keeper, you know, and you can look at him and say, yeah, he's young, he can, but you need to really knock that out of a player very, very early on. Decision making is so key, because they get into the right areas. We did that today, but for some reason the wrong decision is made. Well, it's been a running theme for years. This is not like something new.
I do think the quality of our attack is at an all-time low. But I get you, we've not been creating chances for our strikers for years, but this is an all-time low in terms of quality. But I've got the final stats. They always reading the ones out during the game. So final stats, 60% possession to United, 40% to Bournemouth. 2.26 expected goals for us, 1.24 for them. We had 23 shots to their 10, 7 on target to their 5, 4 big chances to their 2, 4 big chances missed to 0 of their big chances missed. So we are getting into the final third. There's just no end product, no final quality. I mean, Tull, is that the first thing that Ruben Amorim needs to address?
We've got to buy new attackers. We said before, Beth, we need a new striker for one. And then it looks like Rashford and Garnacho are on the way out. So we're going to have to replace those two. I know we're probably going to replace those two with 10s. However, I wouldn't mind having a 10 who can also offer us a bit of output in terms of goals and assists too. So, out of the 5 attackers we've got right now at the club, you've got Rashford, Garnacho, Højlund, Xerxes, Ahmad. I won't lose sleep over any of them going out the door except Ahmad, to be completely, if I'm going to, I won't even say harsh, just honest.
Brutally
honest.
Being brutally honest, guys, if I was to say to you now, summer's rocked around, and I know this will never happen, but if I was to say to you, this time next year, the only attacker that's still going to be at Manchester United in our ranks is Ahmad, would any of you care?
I'd be made up.
Would you care? No. And that's it. You've got one that you know is definitely good enough. One.
Yeah, why would I lose sleep over attackers that I was 13th in the Prem?
It's mad to think that, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got Anthony, you've got Garnacho, you've got Rashford, you've got Højlund and Xerxes and Ahmad. They're your 6. One
I even forgot about Anthony.
is consistently performing at United level. And some people will say, oh, well, yeah, Højlund's got potential, Garnacho's got potential. Are they ready to start games for Man United at the highest level now?
We need players for the now.
We need players now that are good enough to start. There's only one, it's Ahmad.
If you want to look at the now, where are we 13th in the league? Is that where we're at? I'm pretty certain if you look at all the teams above us, they're better than us. Like, I don't think we're below where we should be. I think we're pretty much, when you look at the quality in the other teams, I think we're pretty much where we belong.
The league table doesn't lie. We are 13th because we deserve to be there.
Yeah, it's not.
That is facts.
This to me is not an off season. We finished 8th last year. It's not like, I don't think it's a blip. I genuinely think that is, we're in the pecking order now of Premier League teams and the quality they have in their squads. I think we come probably about.
There's 12 teams
13th,
above us that are better than us, and they're doing it consistently every week.
There's so many teams above us who you'd go, yeah, they'd beat us. It's why, like when Forest.
And they are beating us.
Yeah, like when Forest rocked up to Old Trafford 2 weeks ago. That's why I said I don't think we'll win, because they are a better team than us.
Yeah.
Bournemouth right now are a better team than us. Why I didn't think we'd win today. There's so many teams which are better at football. Like, it's so simple, isn't it? They're just better at playing football than we are. So if you're rubbish at playing football, you're not going to get very far.
That's the nature of the beast. We can't even get that right,
It's a simple game sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes you do have to look at it, is that just simple, just not good enough squad, not good enough players?
It's a terrible squad. It really is a terrible squad. It's much easier to pick your players who you'd keep rather than who you'd let go, because there's about 15.
Yeah, there's the same issues from last season. You can talk about Erik Ten Hag, yeah, he won 2 trophies or whatever. Yes, you didn't have the consistency, but You know, people hounded him out of the club as he was the main reason. And
but Kev, though, he signed a lot of players.
Yeah,
he
get
to
that.
play.
And I agree to an extent that we needed the change at the time. I'm just saying a lot of the things that he was trying to deal with, Ruben Amorim has now had to, take on. The same issues are still there. We're still sat here talking about mentality, talking about, are the players hungry enough? Do they understand what it is to wear this shirt at Manchester United? It shouldn't even be a conversation, if you play for United. But so many of these players now have come through. They're on great wages. Rashford, for example, what's going to happen with him? Oh, he loves United and all this. So what? Do you know what I mean? You go out there and give it your all. Did them players do it today? We've just sat and done a player rating show where we're giving players 3s and 4s playing against Bournemouth at Old Trafford before Christmas in a Premier League game in front of millions of eyes. Do you know what I mean?
It's a cycle where Ten Hag came in. The idea at first was, right, yeah, we've got to move on about 10 of these lads. 10 of these overpriced, overpaid dross. But what did we replace them with? Overpaid, overpriced dross. Do you know what I mean? It's
madness.
We didn't change up the strategy. Oh, we've got all these players on 300, 350 grand a week, move them on. Then we brought in more players on 300, 350 grand a week. It's until you break that cycle, it's never ever going to change. And it's why it kind of resonates when people say, we might be better off getting relegated, because at least then there will be a complete, absolute
reset.
Wipe of the board. Do you know what I mean? Everything will be right. We've got to start again here, because
does need to be
there needs to be a big change in the recruitment strategy.
A lot of the players haven't been upgrades, have they?
No,
I know you say about Elanga, but you look at we've more or less. We've given him away in terms of what we got for a fee. Yet, you could argue that Anthony's his replacement, that we spent, 80, 90 million on.
Anthony can't lace Elanga's boots.
No, and I can see that now, and I really do wonder. And that's
sold him for 10 million and bought him for 90.
Yeah, makes that make sense.
Manager, by the way. I don't know how much it is all down to him. We're not. I'd love to be.
Well, somebody should have reined that one in.
But Anthony was one of his players before, so he's got to have something to do with it.
Yeah. I hadn't even heard of him before. Do you know what I mean? Before United went in for him.
He actually had a good reputation at Ajax, Anthony, but we never should have paid that money, and we've made some terrible decisions in the transfer window, and I do agree with you, Tull, that he needs to be completely wiped, and we do need to start again. I mean, we've got some super chats in, and then I've got a question for everyone. We've got Daniel Winstanley saying Højlund gets no service, graveyard shift. Swala says thoughts on selling Bruno now and cashing in. We spoke about Bruno enough, I think.
I think with Højlund as well, not particularly this game, but there's an excuse here for him all the time that he doesn't get chances made for him. However, you don't have to score a goal to have a good game. Regardless of the chances he's getting or the goals he's scoring, I still think overall, he has more bad games than good games. In terms of what he does on the ball, I do.
Yeah, you can contribute.
Just
as much, even not scoring. If you bring players, I think that's where Xerxes.
Doesn't mean you've not played well if you don't score, and it doesn't mean you have played well if you do score.
Yeah. The strikers look at it different because they just want to score goals. Ruud van Nistelrooy, whoever, were upset if they didn't score, even if United won, because they just did that. Ronaldo's a classic example of somebody. Ego-wise, it's all about him. I want to score. It's my personal kind of level, but. Yeah, I agree with that. Can still play well and not score.
There's not one player in the squad who we should make excuses for, and it's just I'm not picking on Højlund. It's just it seems to be every week I hear when Højlund gets criticism. Oh, but we don't create chances for him. There's no player in that squad deserves any excuse. They should all be judged on that game. We've raved about Ahmad for how long, saying he should get picked, and we've been buzzing now. He has been getting picked, but he's poor today, and we can sit here and say he was poor today. Do you know what I mean? None of us are sat here saying, oh, well, the other players around him weren't quite up to... There's shouldn't make excuses for anyone.
No hiding place,
If the crap, that's just what it is, yeah.
No hiding place out on that pitch. Do you know what I mean? We've all witnessed that today and seen it with our own eyes.
We've got no time for it, mate. We've got no time for it. It's a long process, this. I was saying, I know maybe there is a little bit of a new plan going forward. We only seem to be signing players now like under the age of 24 or so, which is great. It's a start. But it's only two years ago we spent 90 million quid on Anthony, like 2 years in terms of football is not a long time at all. You're probably looking at like 5 years, to be honest, for you to even see the fruits of the new plan. It's going to take like 3, 4, 5 years before you even start seeing the benefits of that. So I've not got time to make excuses.
Because other teams can, like, obviously I'm not excusing it because we've done it it's not just Anthony, we've done it on way too many players. We've paid way over what we should have, and we've made wrong decisions in the transfer window. But it's mad because, like, you look at Man City, they paid 100 million for Grealish, and by the way, I think Grealish is a good player. I think he's getting a lot of stick right now, but I think deep down he's actually a good player. But if that didn't work out for them, like, they can afford that, doesn't matter, no skin off their back. They've still got a good side because they've made good decisions in other areas. You're never going to get every transfer right, is what I'm trying to say. But we've near enough got everyone enough of them all wrong.
Yeah. I feel like for the last decade, we've probably near enough made one absolute howler a year. Like one big name a year, probably, if you look back. Probably every,
more than that.
Probably every season there's been one marquee signing which we've got wrong. I also think it's interesting how have we ever signed an expensive player that's worked out?
No.
I think every single one's not worked. We still do it.
Pogba, Di Maria,
like you can
Falcao
we didn't do it this year.
We didn't do it this year. That's what I was saying. We've kind of made the start, haven't we? However, we're going to be waiting 3, 4, 5 years to see the fruits of the new plan. It's just we're feeling
the Di Maria one at the time was absolutely mind blowing. He admitted that he didn't want to come to United. He wanted to go to PSG. Yet United at that point, because they got a whisper that they could get him, go and sign him. What he last the season and ended up going to PSG. Absolute
well, this
snake.
Is the thing, all of these things add up over the years, don't they? Last few super chats, you've got Banda. We've done that one. Rob Taff says, talk of Ericsson is mad, shows how poor the squad is. Bring back Giggs, he can take a corner. Thought Ahmad did better than Bruno on corners. Double D says, the vast majority of these players are rubbish. We do not have a leader. This manager has an enormous job. No matter how much you polish a turd, it doesn't smell any better. We don't win games with opportunities, it's with goals. Andy says, you're being a tad harsh in my opinion. Yes, we didn't play well, but even if we score 40% of our half-decent chances, we win. Merry Christmas and keep up the good work. Swallow says, thoughts on selling Bruno now and cashing in. We have Keel Robinson saying Amrabat and Rabiot is a no-brainer. I don't think we're losing games because we didn't buy Amrabat and Rabiot, but we've made bad transfer.
Can I jump in really quick
over the years?
I'm not interested in how many chances we create today when we've conceded 6 goals at Old Trafford in 2 games. You create as many chances as you want. You can't keep conceding that many goals. You can't go.
It's where you've got to start. I've said it time and time again. You've got to start by
doing that.
Build from the back.
Clean sheets.
It don't matter how well you play going forward. If you conceded 6 goals, 3 goals a game at Old Trafford, you're never going to get anywhere.
It's the 4th time this season.
You've got to score.
I know it's a new manager.
You've got to score 4 goals a game. Then.
It's like the Mourinho side that what he built at Chelsea. What they concede one season, was it something like 14, 15 goals in a season?
Yeah, 15.
You start from the back, you build from the back.
But technically today, right? Okay, the 3rd goal was a defensive horror show. First goal is a set piece, which we know like it's an issue. Second goal's a penalty. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not as if we've been absolutely horrendous at the back. It's just areas where these mistakes keep coming in, and it's individual errors do cost us a lot.
They were clinical today. What do you say? They had 5 shots on target. They've scored 3 goals.
But we're not clinical because we don't do the basics right. We don't get good set pieces into the opposition's box.
One of the things that I've mentioned a few times is about looking after the ball and taking the right option. And one of I think it was their 3rd goals, Bruno tried a difficult ball through the middle that got cut out. And I know there was lots of things happened after that. So again, I'm not just jumping on Bruno here to jump on Bruno, because I've said this, no matter who the player is, you need to look after the ball better. And when you've got the ball, they can't score. We give a ball away stupidly, and even though there was another 4 or 5 things happened after that, they scored. And that will happen to you. It will happen to you if you're giving the ball away cheaply.
Well, especially we do it a lot in the final third. We're impatient and we don't build up enough and we don't keep the ball enough and create enough passages of play. So you see people forcing it, they counter-attack onto you, and then everyone's blaming the defence for not defending well enough. Well, the attacking players should have kept the ball better in the final third.
Correct.
Like we've said. So you've got to look at the whole passage of play that led up to that instance. But it's frustrating. I want you to end on this, guys. I want you to end on, if 3 positions you could get new players into the starting 11 for tomorrow, which 3 would you pick?
Striker's top of the list, sure.
Striker and left wing back. That'll do for me.
Will you do it? We'll do it individually. Kev, what would your 3 be?
I would say, striker is number. What did you say? 3
positions you could get into the team right now.
I think a left back is now, or a left wing back is becoming more apparent. We don't know what's happening with kind of Luke Shaw. Do you know what? Again, with Mason Mount, I weigh that up, and I like him, but I'm thinking maybe a new number 10.
I
shake things up in that department.
completely agree with that. That would be my exact 3. Left wing back, left-sided 10 and a striker. That left side needs help.
If we sign
but it'd have to be a massive upgrade, like...
Just a quick one. If we sign a left-sided 10, where does that leave Bruno?
Well, that was the kind of route I was going down then. If you're going to rip it up...
Playing deeper or not playing? 2 options.
Yeah.
Being rotated
not getting
more
any
than
younger, I'm not scapegoating him, not
being
saying...
rotated more than what he is at the moment.
Yeah, I think he almost dies on his own sword, Bruno, doesn't he, by the fact that he can play every game. Doesn't mean he should play every game. Everyone will benefit from a rest. Why does he have to... Sometimes he's playing 3 games a week. Like, I know he can... I know he can do it, as in, like, he could turn up and be there and do it, but... You know, it's got to be a big part of the reason why. You know how sometimes you see a little passage from Bruno, like maybe 30 minutes, the first half against City, for example, where he was really good, but he can never do it. I don't think he's ever done that for a full 90 minutes. Do you know what I mean? He's never actually stayed calm and composed for the entire game all the way through.
Maybe in the cup final.
Do you know what?
The cup final was fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting? What Ruben Amorim said, and we spoke about it, and the quote's only just come out now, so I've only just really seen it. But he said we have to maintain the calm when you suffer a goal. It was similar in the last match. The players need to understand the game as different moments. Basically saying we lose our heads.
Basically.
That's clearly evident today, wasn't it?
I do think he's played well in that pivot with Ugarte before. But you know, you can't have competition for places. At the end of the day, I know you can only play 11, but even players that we highly rate, they're not doing enough right now. They're not doing the business. We need better in the final third. How do you upgrade on the final third? Striker, left-sided 10. Ahmad's the only one that's performing.
I think I'd agree with you, Beth. I think I'd like strikers a must, left wing backs a must, and then I'd like a left-sided 10, which is, I'm not saying you're going to get the exact same, but kind of a mirror of the profile of Ahmad, just the other way round. I like what Ahmad brings in terms of he's not just good on the ball, he's also very direct. You know, we can take a man on. Opens the game up a bit more, do you know what I mean? He can go wide, he can take it down the byline if he has to. So I think if we could get another player, similar profile to Ahmad, who's technically good, clean, tidy on the ball, however, he is fast, he can beat a man, he can keep the ball and dribble. I think that we'd really benefit from that type of play. We wouldn't be as lopsided then, do you know what I mean? We wouldn't be so one-side dominant.
Do you agree, Ricky?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Also, I've just had a quick look there at the Forest game. Got beat 3-2 at home by Forest. It was Ugarte and Mainu who were the two holding players in that game, as they were today. So they've played in both the games where we've let 3 goals in. I think his treatment of Casemiro. Now, I know it's not the future, but we're looking to win games now. We want to win. When do we play next? We want to win that game. And I think Casemiro's another player. Don't tell me we would have been worse. I'm not having it. Do you know what I mean? So why is he not getting any game time at all? When we go to Wolves away next, if it was me, I'd put Casemiro and Ugarte in the middle there. Give Mainu a rest, or even play Mainu a bit further up. Give Bruno a rest. Play Mainu in the 10 with Ahmad, and play Casemiro and Ugarte as the 2. There's certain players who have been completely discarded, and I don't think we'd be any worse if they were just getting... I'm not saying in the team all the time, I just mean they've been completely discarded, and I don't think it's right, and I just don't think we'd be worse off if they were getting game time.
Mainu and Ahmad as the 2 10s, that's something I can get behind.
I'd be interested to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, even Ericsson. You know, Ericsson was giving us a lot of output before.
Then again, we keep looking around the squad.
As a bit
like,
more long term, I mean, though, you know, if you, you
Just got to take it game by game.
We keep looking around the squad every time, like, you know, there's a bad performance or we lose. Oh, maybe we try this player next time. Maybe we try that player. We keep circling around. None of them are good enough at the end of the day. Like, some of them are, but like we need better players.
Yeah, and to be fair to what Rick's saying here about how this idea of we're kind of like long term. I bet the other teams in our half of the table aren't thinking long term about, like, you know, I bet Palace, for example, don't think, oh, we've got to get him in because long term. They just want to win the next game.
They want to win the next game.
They just want to win the next game. They've got to get the points on the board. So it's a bit of a reality check, a bit of a slap in the face, but that is where we are.
You're only as good as your last game, and in our case, we're shit.
Depressing. Anyway, guys, Merry Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas.
This is obviously the last game until after Christmas. So we'll see you all back after you've had a good Christmas dinner, hopefully, and you've enjoyed Christmas with your families and friends and everything. And yeah, happy holidays, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
The watch-along record has ended.
Yeah, it's sad, but do you know what?
Let's come to
Therapy Forum's back. Everybody with fantastic contributions in terms of your super chats and getting involved. Please hit a like on the video if you haven't already. We've seen we're not even on 1,000 likes. We've had so many people in the chat. Make sure you hit a like on that and subscribe to the channel. Road to 2 million. Ricky, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Tull, it's been a pleasure. Here for the countdown show. Here for the aftermath. And fortunately, it's not the result we wanted, but it's been some good discussions to be had that have been had.
Yeah, on to next season.
On to next season. It's not the end of the season. It's not even the end of the year yet. We've still got Newcastle before the end of the year.
It's not the end of the season. I wish it was.
Tull's got that look of like, I could have really done without this today. What a waste of time
he just
that
looks
was.
like,
yeah.
You know when like every bit of hope's been drained out of you? Like every bit of hope.
Yeah, I'm kind of bathing in it at the moment.
Hopes
I feel
and dreams,
like coming on here every
that's
week
us.
saying we're going to get beat. A bit of the Grinch at the moment.
It's like you've had like someone's just sucked the life right out of you.
Yeah, United have.
Oh. And
that's what they do.
Kev?
Yeah. Merry Christmas to all the viewers.
I really need you to go and watch back what you looked like when you were... I was watching it on there and I was laughing.
I kind of see myself
you
on the screen.
You had the hat with like the thing just hanging over and you're like, yeah, we're really bad. Like, so depressed, but like just this Santa hat on. But look, thank you everyone for watching. We do appreciate it. Have a lovely Christmas. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll be back throughout the week. We're not going anywhere, but this is the last game before Christmas now. So enjoy. Stay tuned for all the content we've got coming up this week. We still do have stuff coming out. And we will see you on the next one.